Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. It has been such a long time since we just played with makeup, tested some new products, and I have like 8 or 9 new things in front of me. So we're just going to play, talk about some new products, and really just enjoy makeup for the first time in a while. So if that's something you're into, make sure to keep on watching, and please don't forget to subscribe because I upload 3 or 4 times a week. And that'll be the best way to stay up to date on all the fun stuff I'm posting. So if you want to play with some new goodies with me and really just relax and do our makeup together, stay tuned. Alright, so for complexion, I don't know if these are going to end up being primers or if they're actually going to be my complexion for today, but Pixi just came out with an entire line of like vitamin C infused things. So I will be using the priming oil today, and then they have a brightening perfector and an under eye brightener that they say you can use alone or with makeup. So I'm not sure what the coverage is going to be, so depending on how that looks, we might layer something on top. If not, it might be enough on its own. So I am going to start with the vitamin C Balancing Nourishing Priming Oil. That's a lot of words. Reminder, don't touch your droppers to your face because that's how you get bacteria in your bottle. Smells very vitamin C. Now, I do get this question a lot as to what is the benefit of having vitamin C in your skincare routine. And the honest answer is that it lightens, brightens, and tightens. Lightens up discoloration, brightens up your dullness in complexion, and tightens anti-aging, anti-wrinkle. Now, I am going to remind you guys that vitamin C is a pretty strong ingredient. So you'll notice the second I put it on, my skin got a little red, but just give it a couple seconds, it will calm down. That is totally normal. This is also an oil base, so you'll notice it is starting to separate. It is 3 different layers, so just give it a quick shake before you actually use it. Once that's absorbed into the skin, let's jump into the Pixi Brightening Perfector. Vitamin C infused complexion enhancer, blurs and perfects to give a dewy, radiant finish. Use solo or under makeup for added complexion perfection. So I'm going to grab a paddle brush and take a little bit. It is white, so if it's like one of those shade adjusting things, we might get a little bit of like a deepening out of it, but let's see. Yeah, as I blend it in, it is deepening a little bit. So what I'm going to do is just move it around a little bit, and then I'm actually going to grab a I'm going to use my finger to just massage it in. Because this type of formula, like these shade adjusters, they really need to warm up, and that's something you can really only achieve with your fingers. You guys know I hate using my fingers for makeup application, but in this instance, this is one of those products where you kind of need to. So definitely not enough coverage, if at all, for me. I think, though, as a primer, it is beautiful. My skin is like blurred and perfected. Not perfect, but perfected. Like my pores are less pronounced. My complexion's a little evened out. This is something I would definitely continue to use as a primer, depending on how things sit on top of it. So let's try the eye brightener, vitamin C infused under eye bright. Basically, it says the exact same thing. Use alone or under concealer. For this, I am going to grab a brush. So I'm going to take a tiny bit on, this is actually an eyeshadow brush, but I'm going to take a little bit. It is a little orange, so it does have that like peachy color corrector ability for discoloration. Not that I have a lot of under eye discoloration, but it is brightening. I can instantly see a little bit of brightness from it, but as far as like complexion, I will say my skin just looks really beautifully primed. It does not actually look like I have put on complexion products. So I'm not going to say these are not wins for me. I am going to have to give them a little bit more of a try to see how they layer with things. My skin does feel really well prepped though. So primers, 3 of them. We have applied 3 primers. That's all we've done so far. All right, I'm going to grab a complexion product. You guys already know. It's going to be Beauty for Real's MVP. This is like my current and for the past like year ride or die complexion product. The cap is a full coverage concealer. It is a full coverage if you build it up, or lightweight, skin-like finish. I am nearing the end of this one, but I do already have a backup. I like to take that on a paddle brush and then blend it out with a sponge. It's gonna look too dark, but this is way forgiving, very forgiving. With this kind of a product, because it is pretty sheer until you build it up, you will see that like it's gonna look like it's not gonna match me, and then once I begin to blend it out, it actually becomes a beautiful match. I'm in the shade medium 1. And once I feel like the layer is everywhere I want it, I'm gonna go into a sponge. This is actually new as well. This is the Base Blue Snowman sponge. It is literally a baby snowman. He is really cute. So we're gonna take the flat side and see how it no longer looks super dark. This stuff, once you start to blend it in, really beautifully matches complexion. So I am gonna say I love the little shape of the sponge because I'm literally taking the head of the snowman right into my under eye. And it's like the perfect shape. I think that looks really good. So I will say that this product, the Beauty For Real MVP, is always a little radiant and a little glowy. But I will say I can kind of feel like I'm seeing that pixie glow through it a little bit more. It's a little more glowy even than it normally is, which I think is beautiful. On the little head of the snowman, I am going to take a tiny bit of the concealer. And I do just like take a tiny bit. Actually, this is the perfect shape for this concealer. It literally shoves his face right in there. So I'm going to take a little bit and see how that just instantly brightens everything up. With this concealer, less is definitely more. You do not need a lot. And lately I've been back into the flower powder setting powder from Beauty Bakery. So we're just gonna set down all of that. I do like to start with a small little brush. This one is a Persona brush that came in a Boxycharm. It's actually a highlight and blush brush, but I prefer it for precision setting powder. Then swapping to a large fluffy brush. This one is also from Base Blue. I think this is one of the coolest brushes ever because it has an eyeshadow brush in the handle, so it's like a 2-in-1. We're just gonna pat that over everything just to move that powder around and make sure everything is set. I am going to go prep my eyes off camera just because that takes me a minute and I'm all up in my mirror. So I'm going to go do that and I'll be right back. All right, prep my eyes, brows are on. You guys know, Milk Makeup Kush Brow, as always, is my brow holy grail. For the main event, we're going to be using from Ofra. This is the new Solstice Mini Mix palette. It is actually beautiful. The center highlighter is Rodeo Drive, which I do already own. So I already know I love that, but we've got a color I can use as a soft focused bronzer. Got a color to use as a blush, so I'm going to get a full face out of this. Shout out and thank you to Ofra for sending this over, but this is not sponsored. But we are going to talk about the formulas because this is important because you guys know we do Boxycharm spoilers on this channel. This palette layout is coming in a Boxycharm. I'll put the picture up here. The colors are a little different, but the product is the same. So I'm going to start by grabbing a bronzer brush and dipping into this shade down here. It's a little shimmery and could definitely be used as a blush. I'm going to see how it looks as a bronzer on my complexion today. It's a little warm, so definitely more of a blush tone, but I'm not mad at it. So we're going to use it anyway. And just finishing adding a little bit of warmth to the perimeters of the face. Because it's a little warm, I'm going to jump into a separate Ofra bronzer just because I want this to look good. I feel like we always want it to look good. Yeah, much better. Plus, the blush is a little more pigmented, so this is a little more of like a soft focus bronziness, which we like. Now jumping back into the palette, I'm going to take a mixture of these two shades as my blush today. There. I keep holding things up that I think are mirrors that aren't actually mirrors. Oh, that's beautiful. It's just giving this soft rosiness to the cheeks. Because of one of those shades that has some shimmer in it, it is just this beautiful glow, but very natural. So for those of you who don't like going in ham with your blush, this could be a really like soft flush to the cheeks without getting overboard. And I already know I love this because I do already own this product. We're going to jump into Rodeo Drive, the highlighter in the center. This stuff is strong and a little bit goes a long way. So you do not need to go overboard. Yeah, unless you want to, but it is definitely not necessary. This stuff can be blinding. I'm barely tapping in. I'm like patting the brush in once. And I'm intentionally using a brush that is a little bit fluffier so that it's not depositing a lot of product. Because you guys have seen me use this before. This can get really blinding really quickly. To add a little bit of a glow to the whole cheek, I added a little bit more. And I'm just going to take my blush brush and pull it down, just so everything is soft and glowy on the whole cheek. Now these formulas are beautiful and I already know I love them. I'm going to put my brushes in front of me so I can stop turning to the side. I'm going to grab a fluffy brush and I'm going to start with the lightest eyeshadow shade and I'm just going to lightly pat that over everything because I feel like the primer I'm using today, and I am testing some new ones, so the one I'm using today feels a little wet, so I do want to like reset it down. Then dipping into the shade right next door, which is a nice cool toned brown, we're going to add some definition of the crease. Just going to tilt my head back and blend it above my natural socket. Since my eyes are hooded, and I feel like I'm getting redundant because I say this in every video, but because my hooded eyes don't show shadow if I put it into the socket, by leaning back and going above the socket makes it so you can see that blend when my eyes are open. Most people, when they have hooded eyes, they still blend in the socket, and then you can't even see what you're doing, or that you did it. And then when your eyes are open, you did all that eyeshadow work for nothing because no one can see it. This is a beautiful transition color. Switching to a denser, flatter brush, I'm going to take more of that exact same shade, and this time I'm going to go into the socket. Since we've already blended it up, the definition will be there, but I do want to make it a little bit more intense, just so that you get a little more of that definition on the entire eye. Next, going into this dark brown, we're going to add some definition to the outer portion of the eye. So I can honestly say I don't remember if I've ever used an Ofra eyeshadow, but these are blending beautifully. I think what we're going to do to make this a little different than all of the same thing I always do is I think we're going to keep it matte on the eyes, or at least on the lid. So I'm going to go back into that bone color that we used first, and I am going to load that onto a packer brush and use it to clean up the lid. Oh, I take that back. There's a little bit of a shimmer to that shade. Yeah, this is not going to be matte. There's some sheen there. Still going to be very neutral though, so I'm not mad at it. Probably should have paid more attention before. All right, I'm going to grab a pencil brush, and for once I'm actually going to skip any liner on my lower lash line because I do want this to be a little cleaner and I want my eyes to look a little brighter. So we're going to leave that blank, and I'm going to take those same colors I used on top on a dual-sided pencil brush, and I am going to add some definition to the lower lash line. So because I didn't really get the effect I wanted on the eyes, I am going to grab that same packer brush and a pressed setting powder, and I'm just going to tie up that on the lid because I did really like this idea of it being very flesh-toned and matte. So whatever color you use for your setting powder, just use that. Yeah, much better. Just to take down some of that shine and make it a little bit more. All right, lastly on the eyes before we jump into mascara and liner and all that stuff, I'm going to take that same Rodeo Drive highlighter. This stuff is intense, so a little goes a long way. I'm going to pop that on the inner corner. Beautiful. All right, I'm going to go now and throw on a little bit of mascara and I'll be right back. All right, mascara is on, and I am skipping lashes today for obvious reasons because I honestly don't think we need them. I've been really on a no lash kick lately. Next, we're going to jump into the last item from that new Pixie collection. This is Peach Pout, which is a vitamin C enriched hydrating lip product. Now, I don't know if this is a balm or a lipstick. If I need color, I'll put it on, but we'll try it. A little bit of color, but it's definitely like a tinted lip balm. It tastes nice. It smells nice. It's comfortable. Definitely something to use as like a base under another lip product, but not something I would say is a lip on its own. So let's throw something else on. Because the eyes are super neutral, I think I'm going to go a little bit more fun on the lips, I think. Keep it in the family. I'm going to grab Havana Nights from Ofra, which is a beautiful lip color, and let's pop it on. And that is the finished look. So thank you guys so much for joining me today, playing with makeup and really just unplugging for a little bit. I know it's been a while since I just sat down and played with makeup. So thanks for joining me. If you guys have any questions or I missed something, make sure to leave a comment down below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.